And so I'm Christy Sloan with My Artful Adventures here today. And what I'm going to be showing you is a really, really easy project that I hope that you will like. We are going to do a composition book makeover. So this is a perfect time to grab some of those composition notebooks because they are so cheap for back to school sales right now. And you know, these can be used for all kinds of fun things. So these were some that I had already done. And let me get in the frame here. So you can put die cuts on them. You can, stencil on them if you want. You can put some closures on them. Now it's kind of funny. I just realized when I was going to show this that both of these kind of had these whimsical, themes on them. But I guess I like those. You can make them however that you want to. So it is so, so fun. Yes, Deb, we love easy, don't we? And really these can even be used. You can make some and give them away. They make such a great journal for somebody or just a notebook. And when you have different ones, you can know what a specific one is. You could create as many as you want to, and especially at this time of year. And they are so easy. You can even have kids help do them. They would love it. It is a great craft. So I'm going to switch us down to the desk view. And what we're going to use today is going to be, you're going to need your composition notebook, and a ruler is good to have on hand. Some little scissors and some liquid adhesive is great because that way you can move it around. Okay, and because it gives you a little bit of wiggle room. If you wanted to, you could certainly use a double-sided adhesive tape. So this glue is actually called reptile glue, and it is great. It is a craft adhesive. It was actually designed to be used, I believe, with doing tile work. So it's going to stick. But sometimes things take on a different life, I think, as time goes on and other people find out about them. And you can use some ribbon or whatever that you would like for, a closure. You don't have to put one on if you don't want to. And some scrapbook paper is perfect for this project. You can also use some wallpaper, leftover scraps of wallpaper, wrapping paper you could use. Just about anything that, is a paper product would be great for this project. And then you're going to want a paper trimmer. If you don't have one, you can certainly use a ruler and just, cut it by hand. So, don't worry about that. Don't let that stop you from doing this project. So I'm going to pull this out. That's going to be my front. And I don't know, I'm not sure if I want to use this. I think I will. I think I'll just use this plain green for my spine piece. So that's what I'm going to need out of there. So let's first measure our book. And this is about 9 3/4 inches tall. So let's start out by trimming that much off this paper. Doesn't matter which way I've got it going. It looks like it's pretty good any direction. Grief. Okay, so 9 3/4. Is that what I said? Oh, you guys, unless I write it down. I'm so bad about that. Yes, 9 3/4. So I'm going to trim that off so that that's how long the page is. And now I've got this 12-inch span here, and I'm going to turn it and I'm going to cut it at 6 inches. So this is going to give me my front and my back cover piece. And now let's see how we're going to decide about how big to make the spine. I think that on the spine, I'm going to measure I'm going to grab one of these papers so I know how far my paper is. So my cover is going to come clear over here. So if I measure across from like the middle of the spine, that looks like it's about 1.5 inches right to the edge of the paper. So I'd certainly want it a little bit longer. So 1.5 inches and 1.5 inches is 3 inches. So I think I'll do another 1/4 inch. So I'll just make it 3.5 inches across. So we need this to be 9 3/4 inches for the height of our notebook. See how easy this is? Whoops. Have you guys ever done anything like this? And then we're going to do this one 3.5. Okay, that's all there is to that. Okay, let's go ahead and now, if you want to put in some ribbon to close it up, you'll want to put it in now. And I think I'm going to grab a little bit of tape so I want it to stick real quick. So I'll grab a little bit of this tape here. And then I don't have to worry about whether it has stuck in there or not. So I'll just put it kind of here in the middle. And go ahead and pull that off. These things are tricky. I see people all the time take these and they just whip them off of there. And me, I'm still trying to get it to where it's going to lift off easy and leave the adhesive underneath. There we go. Okay, so that one's on there for now, and let's go ahead and stick this in here. And I don't know, maybe I'll just put it about this long. And I'll flip it over and do the other side real quick so that they are fairly even. You guys still having, are you having hot weather too? This is, okay, and I'll stick another piece here. I'll just run this out here. Okay. So now we're just going to go ahead and glue down our cover. We're just going to put our liquid adhesive down, and I want to try and keep that kind of close to the edge so that we get a good coverage on that. This is kind of crummy. This is my first presentation in this group, so I'm really disappointed that it has had so many problems today. But I'm a trooper. I'm going to still keep going. And like I said, if Facebook doesn't have the whole thing, it's recorded on my end, and I can go back and put it in here. So we've got it one way or another. And then we just lay this on here, make sure that you're lined up, and this gives you just a moment that you might need to wiggle it around and get it right where you want it. And then just press it down. And you really don't even notice where this is here. And especially when you've got a great design on here, it kind of camouflages that there might be a little, raised place underneath that. You also, if you wanted to, you could go ahead and use maybe a plain colored paper and do some stenciling on it. That would be great. I tried to see if maybe you could use just a little bit of paint on one of these, because I know so many people in our group do painting. And I tried to do that to see how that would work out. And I didn't like it at all. It really did not come out the way that I had hoped it would. The cover is kind of slick. The cover is so slick that, first of all, the paint didn't hardly stick on there. I used a little bit of gesso and thought, I just put it on real lightly to see if that would help. And so I went from there. And I'll show you when I get done with this, I'll show you what happened. And you can judge for yourself what you think of that. But, it's all about trial and error. You have to be willing to try things, right? If you don't try it, you don't know if it will, work out well or not. So you just put it on here. Okay, so let me show you the painted one. So first of all, I put some blue painter's tape across here, and that didn't go too well because when I took it off, I realized I had more of it than I had this little piece peeking out here, and I'm like, well, shoot, that didn't look very great. I did decide though to be sure and open it so that I didn't accidentally get paint across the edges and glue it shut or paint it shut. That'd be like painting a window closed, right, ladies? So, and then I got a dab of it. I stuck my finger in the paint when it was almost done. I got paint over here. I decided to use our best friend, the baby wipes, over here to try and get it off in these two places. And then I'm like thinking, well, that didn't work so hot because it was paper. So I'm using this damp baby wipe over here, and it's like rubbing the cover off because I thought, oh, I'll just use that black. It'll look so nice. And so, yeah, don't do that. Just use paper. Find some kind of paper. Use wrapping paper. Use whatever you want to, but don't do that. So now we're ready for, let's see, I thought this was my piece. Did I not cut the edge off? No, that's not it. That's too thin. Okay, so again, this was like 3 and what? What did we say, ladies? 3.5. And so this, what I like to do on these is to just kind of, hold it over here to where you're going to start it, and then just kind of gently, make it gently go over here. But first what I'm going to do is I will go ahead and put it on here first. And I think, let's see, let's just go ahead and glue our first edge on. And I don't glue the whole thing across the back of the cover. This is not smart to do it on there. That's just an accident waiting to happen. So I'm just going to put a little bit here. What I was going to say is I don't put it clear across the whole back, because if you do that, you've got it to where it kind of, I'll show you what I'm talking about. As you bend this back, it's got a little bit of a gap. Let me see, you can't see it. See how this has this little bit of gap? Because it takes more paper as it bends around to cover it. And so if you glue that whole thing in there, then it really doesn't have much give, and I think that it would cause it to crack more along the spine. And you don't want it to do that. So don't do that. Stephanie. I don't know that I'm really funny. It's just, I just go with the flow, you know. I have had so many twists and turns in life that that's just how you got to roll. Okay, so there, we've got that on there. And now I'm just going to turn this over, and on the flip side, and I'm going to do most of it. I'm going to put glue on most of it. I'm just going to leave a little bit there in the middle so it can have a little bit of give. And we'll just smear a little bit of that on. Now, when you're using liquid glue, unless it is specifically made for paper and it isn't a water-based glue, you want to be careful how much you use, because you don't want it to, you know, water-based glue is going to seep into your paper. And that's what makes it wrinkly and crinkly, is when you've got too much water going into your paper. Oh, I love this. Hey, isn't that pretty? Look, you know, when you use pretty papers, you just can't hardly go wrong. Okay, now here's another tip. Open it up and make sure you know which way that you're going, because I have made these and then I've got it backwards, and I get back here and here's my back of my book. so do as I teach, not as I do. Okay, so now here, okay, ladies, this is going to be so easy to decorate, because a lot of times your scrapbook pads, if you buy a pad of paper or even some kind of a kit, a lot of times they will have cut aparts or die cuts included in the kit. And so when I opened this paper pad and I found these, I thought, oh, this is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm just going to use one of these. So here are these, and I'm thinking I'm going to use just one of these that's got a lot of space in it, because then I can designate this particular notebook. I can designate this notebook for something specific, and I can, label it. So here are, I've got square ones, there's some round ones, there's some other little pretty things back here that you could put on as well. But I actually think I'm just going to use this one. And let's see. How do you like that? What do you think of that, ladies? You think that's a good one to put on? Let's see what you think. Oh my goodness. Do you like this one on here? I kind of like it. I think I will use a tiny bit of ink, just a little bit, so that it'll stand out a little bit. Yeah! Yikes. So sometimes what I do, just a really quick thing, is I'll just take my item and just kind of flick it along my ink pad. I don't get out any other tools or anything. I just do this. Now it is a little bit harder, like because this has all these little, this little cut around here. I'm not going to be able to really get in there real well with this method, but I think I'll be fine. Maybe if I just tip it a little bit, I can get a little bit better. Oh, that's working okay. That's good. I don't want to totally mess it up. But see, it'll make it stand out just a tiny bit from the background. And you could, if you wanted to, you could put like some dimensionals under it. But since it's going to be a notebook and in with some other things, I don't think that I want it raised up. I would, I think it would look really cool raised up a little bit. But since it's going to be smashed in with so many other things, I think I'm just going to leave it flat, and then I won't have to, worry about that. So let's just go ahead and put a little bit of adhesive on here. I hope so. Okay, and then we can just tie it. Give it a little bit of a bow. Tie it closed. And there we go. Now, if you use something like a softer kind of, thing like seam binding or something like that for your ribbon, you get a lot, oh man, that's really twisted. You can get you can get your tail to lay down a lot prettier. Like, look at this. This is this really soft thin kind of ribbon, and I really like the way that it, it ties up really good and lays really, really pretty. So, well, that's just, oh, excuse me. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this quick little project. Come visit me over at my page. It's My Artful Adventures here on Facebook is my business page. So come visit me. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.